So the first section we're going to look at is cribs and cradles and cots and cot beds. We're now going to go through those standards. BSEN 1130 1997 Cribs and Cradles for Domestic Use. Exposed edges should be free of burrs and sharp edges. There should be no open-ended tubes. Small fixings such as hinges, brackets, etc. should also be free of sharp edges and burrs. Self-tapping screws should not be used for anything that is to be removed, loosened, etc. for transport or storage. If the bed base is adjustable, it must require a tool to be used to adjust it. Plastic coverings used in packaging must contain a warning stating that it should be disposed of or kept away from children. A statement that when a child can sit, kneel or pull itself up the crib or cradle should not be used anymore. A statement that all fittings should be tightened properly. No screws should be loose to avoid snagging of ribbons, necklaces, etc., which could lead to strangulation. Remember, power tools can often cause sharp edges on bolts if the bits are worn or do not sit neatly in the bolts when they are used. You should therefore avoid using power tools when assembling cribs and cradles. This also applies to cots as well. A small cut on a baby's finger could affect the use of that finger for the rest of the baby's life. So even if it's just got a slight sharp edge on it, it could be actually very dangerous for a baby. So please don't use power tools when you're assembling cribs and cradles or cots. Always use the correct fittings supplied. Never use a self-tapping screw where a bolt or nut should be used. This should be obvious, but if you are undoing and doing something up over and over and over again, a nut and a bolt is far more appropriate for doing this. A self-tapping screw will damage the hole each time you apply it and make it less secure and not as strong. Now, you must point out all the warnings on the instructions to the customer, especially the notes on fittings being tightened properly and regularly checked. These warnings are there for the customer. You're the one that's read them when you built the item, and the customer won't necessarily have seen them. So it's really important you point out these warnings that are on the instructions to the customer after you've assembled the product for them. Now we're going to go on to cots and cot beds. The relevant points from this standard, BSEN 717 2017, applying to children's cots and cot beds. The internal length must be between 900 and 1400 mm. It should not be possible for a 60 mm cone to pass between any part of the slatted bed base. This is to stop limbs, arms, legs, etc. falling through. It should not be possible for an 85 mm cone to pass between any part of a mesh base either. I don't know why it's different, but it is. There's obviously a reason behind that. Most cots come with a pre-assembled slatted base. With some cots you actually have to assemble this yourself, but you can see how close on this particular example they are. What's that, 36 mm apart, maybe 37 with that extra bit on the tape measure. So that's well within the 60 mm limit we discussed earlier. Now, a tool must be required to adjust the height if it can be adjusted. All fittings should be tightened properly and checked regularly. If a mattress is supplied, no gap should be more than 30 mm in any position. So down the sides, at the head, at the foot, the mattress has got to fit in properly into the cot itself. The top of the mattress and the top of the cot sides must be between 200 mm and 500 mm in all positions. The instructions must contain 4 warnings as follows. Do not place the cot near to fires and other sources of strong heat. Do not use the cot if any part is damaged, broken or torn. Do not leave anything in the cot or near the cot which could be used as a foothold or risk strangulation. Do not use more than one mattress on the cot at any time. They must also contain clear statements. The actual text is specified in the standard, but it's, to all intents and purposes, this is what it says. That the cot is ready for use when locking mechanisms are fully engaged. So if it's got a drop side or anything like that, or it's collapsible, you've got to have it put in the correct position. If the height can be adjusted, the lowest position of the base is its safest position. Further things are specified that must be included in the instructions, highlighting all of the above points, but it really does look at the instructions and show them to the customer after you've built the item. Now, it is key that you find out if the child is yet to be born or whether it's a newborn baby. If so, fit the mattress base to the highest setting and point out how to lower it when the child starts to stand up. Now at this point, it's easier for the mother or father to lift the baby in and out of the cot if they don't have to reach as far. Obviously, once the child starts to stand up, it could climb out, so you need to lower it. If the child has already started standing, fit the mattress base to the lowest setting so it can't climb out, and point out to the customer which of the above you've done and why. This is good customer service, and it demonstrates you're aware of what you're building and why you've built it the way you have done.